You send a message and then wait. Not for a minute, not for an hour. You wait 22 and a half hours for that message to arrive. And then you wait another 22 and a half hours for the reply. Almost 2 full days just to know if the other side is still listening. That is what it takes to talk to the furthest thing human hands have ever touched. It is called Voyager 1. It was launched in 1977, the same year the first Star Wars movie came out. It is moving at about 38,000 miles per hour. It is more than 15 billion miles away, or 24 billion kilometers. It has crossed the edge of our solar system, the boundary called the heliopause. It entered the vast, freezing emptiness of interstellar space. There is nothing out there, and yet it is still talking to us. But here's the part that should break your brain. Look at the phone in your hand. The phone communicates at hundreds of megabytes per second. Voyager 1 transmits at 160 bits per second. Your phone has gigabytes of memory. Voyager 1 runs on just 68 kilobytes of memory. Its transmitter runs on about 23 watts of power. That's less power than the light bulb in your hallway. How can we possibly hear a 23-watt whisper from 15 billion miles away? We listen with the Deep Space Network, massive 70-meter antenna dishes built on Earth, pointing directly into the dark, catching a signal that is barely stronger than the cosmic background noise. It shouldn't work, and yet it does, until suddenly it didn't. In late 2023, Voyager 1 stopped making sense. It was still transmitting, but the data was coming back as just repeating patterns of ones and zeros. Unreadable gibberish. The engineers at NASA realized that a single memory chip inside this 46-year-old flight data computer had died. You can't exactly send a repairman 15 billion miles into the void. You can't replace the single chip. And the engineers who originally designed the machine in the 1970s have largely retired or passed away. So a new team had to open up manuals that were nearly a half-century old. They took the software code that used to live on the broken empty chip. They sliced it into tiny pieces. They found empty working corners of Voyager 1's tiny memory bank, tucked the code in, and rewrote the cross-references so that the whole program would still run. They beamed this fix into the dark on April 18th, 2024, and then waited. 45 hours for the round trip, 2 days of holding their breath, relying on a thread of radio signals stretched across 24 billion kilometers. And on April 20th, Voyager 1 answered back. Readable data. It was fixed, but Voyager 1 is still dying. It doesn't run on solar panels. It's way too far from the sun for that. It's powered by a nuclear battery, a decaying ball of plutonium-238. Every single year, it loses about 4 watts of power. To keep it alive, NASA has to slowly blind it. They sit down and decide which of its senses to amputate to save energy. On April 2026, they turned off the low-energy charged particles experiment. They're shutting off heaters, leaving the spacecraft just warm enough so its fuel lines don't freeze solid. They're stretching its life day by day, trying to keep it breathing into the 2030s. So why do we care? Why go through all this trouble for a hunk of 1970s metal? In 1990, an astronomer named Carl Sagan asked NASA to do something that had no scientific value at all. He asked them to turn around Voyager's camera back towards home and take one last picture before they shut off the cameras forever to save power. NASA agreed. In that photograph, taken 4 billion miles away from home, Earth is less than a single pixel, just 0.21% of a pixel, sitting on a scattered band of sunlight, a pale blue dot. Sagan looked at that fraction of a pixel and said, on it, everyone you ever loved, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. Every creator and destroyer of civilization, every young couple in love, every saint and sinner in history, all of them living on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. But Voyager 1 also carries something else into the dark. Bolted to its side is a golden record, a copper disc plated in gold designed to last 1 billion years. It holds 116 images of our world. It holds greetings in 55 different languages. It holds sounds of wind, rain, and a mother's lullaby. It holds the music of J.S. Bach, Blind Willie Johnson, and Chuck Berry. It holds the brainwaves of a young woman. Her name was Anne. While her brainwaves were being recorded, she thought about the history of Earth, struggles of civilization, and what it felt like to fall in love. The electrical signal from her mind was compressed into audio and then pressed into the gold. Voyager 1 will outlive us. In about 40,000 years, it will pass within 1.6 light years of a star called Gliese 445. Long after our own sun burns out, Voyager 1 will still be drifting through the Milky Way, dead, silent, and cold. But it won't be empty. It's carrying us. Whatever happens to this planet, whatever mistakes we make, we were here. We laughed, we played music, we fell in love, and we built a tiny, fragile machine and hurled it into the cosmic dark just to prove it.